Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is our seventh class, inshallah, for Ilm Sarf, the videos. Inshallah, today all we're going to really be doing is just review. Most of the stuff we discussed in the last week has been a lot of new terms and new ideas. And I just want to recap everything that we've been doing because I know it's been quite a lot on everyone, inshallah. So, what we're going to look at first again is the triliteral verbs, the thalathi abwab, thalathi mujarrad. Now remember, thalathi mujarrad means that there are only three root letters that are mentioned. There are only three root letters there. Okay, that's what thalathi mujarrad means. So there are how many babs of that? There are six babs, which are all mentioned here. Okay, and we went over all of this. نصر ينصر ضرب يضرب فتح يفتح سمع يسمع كرم يكرم حسب يحسب. Okay, these are the babs. Now, if you look at the directions given here, we can learn how to conjugate the verbs. And I told you in class that it's actually easier to just memorize than to learn the actual rule for it. So we're just going to memorize them. Nasara yansuru. The main thing you have to pay attention to is the ayn kalima. And the ayn kalima is Ainul Kalima is the word, the letter that is the second root letter in the Madi form. So if you take the Madi past tense form like Nasara, so the Sod is in the Ain Kalima. If you look at Daraba, the Ra is in the Ain Kalima, and you can understand that, inshallah. So, what we're talking about is how to make a word into mudari'. Well, simple. Any word in a dictionary that you look up is going to be on one of these abwab. Okay? If it's a three-letter word, it's going to be one of these abwab. So the dictionary itself will tell you which bab the word is from, and all you have to do after that is put it in the bab. So you have a word like qatala yaqtulu. For example, qatala yaqtulu. Well, by listening to what I'm saying, yaqtulu, you can tell that it has to be nasara yansuru because it's qatala yaqtulu. It has to be from this bab, okay? Um, okay, let's go forward. We did this exercise here. Ba'atha yab'athu, taraka yatruku. We did this. This was identifying. So the very first thing we learned was Mozzie Marouf. Mozzie Madi means past tense. Ma'ruf means it's an active verb. Active. We know and we are mentioning the one who's actually doing the action. That's called Madi Ma'ruf. So an example of those are what? Daraba, fataha, sami'a, qatala. All those are Madi Ma'ruf. Now, if you want to conjugate those verbs, what do? Well, look at it. Very simple. What do? One second. We want to conjugate it. We put it on this table here. This is our table. We have to practice this, and I'm hoping everyone is practicing this at least 20 minutes a day. So fa'ala, fa'ala, fa'alu, فعلت فعلتا فعلنا فعلت فعلتما فعلتم فعلتي فعلتما فعلتن فعلت فعلنا. Okay, here we have the sigha. The sigha is the word form. Okay, it's the word form. The word form is telling you the number of people doing it, wahid or mufrad, whatever you want to call it. It's telling you the gender of the doer, mudhakkir. Ghaib is telling you the tense of the words, first or the person, I'm sorry, first person, second person, third person, okay? So you have to be able to recognize very quickly what tense the word is, what sigha, word form is mentioned there, okay? That's very important to be able to understand and recognize immediately, okay? So if someone says to you fa'alta, well, right away you should be able to recognize that this is one, it's second person, and it's one, it's second person, and it's positive, it's masculine, excuse me, because it's fa'alta. But if you said fa'alti, then right away you know, oh, it's one person, and it's mu'annath, meaning feminine, and it is hadir, it is second person. Okay, so let's go forward. Here we have some verbs, and what you should be able to do, what you need to be able to do, master this. You need to be able to look at all of these 6 verbs and immediately conjugate them. So غلب غلب غلبوا غلبت غلبتا غلبنا غلب, like that. You have to be able to do that, and that is where you just have to take out time and literally practice. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you for all the time you're putting into this, because it is not easy to learn a new language. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward you greatly for what you're doing, inshallah ta'ala. So every letter, inshallah, who knows the thawab that you'll be getting for each one of those words. But so what you want to be able to do is immediately, number one, recognize the bab. You should be able to recognize what bab this word is on, and you should be able to conjugate the verb. In the beginning, it's going to be slow, but I promise you, if you keep up the hard work, it'll become very easy to you, inshallah ta'ala. Type. Let's look at the next thing. You have Madi Majhul, Jahila, Yajhalu, Jahila, which is this word here. Majhul means unknown. Unknown. Jahal is ignorance. Something is not known to you, you're ignorant of it. So this is called perfect passive. Madi is past tense, which is perfect tense, and passive is majhul. How do you do that? Well, easy. First letter gets a dhamma, second ayn kalima. The fa kalima, let me correct myself. The fa kalima will get a dhamma, and the ayn kalima will get a kasra. So you will say nusira instead of nasara. You will say nusira. Okay, instead of sami'a, you will say sumi'a. The ayn kalima gets a kasra. The fa kalima gets a dhamma. MashaAllah. Now, here is the whole chart. Here is the whole chart for فعل الماضي المجهول المثبت, past tense or perfect tense, passive, and positive sentence or word. فُئِلَ فُئِلَ فُئِلُت فُئِلَت فُئِلَتا فُئِلْنَا فُئِلْتَ, and this also you have to practice and learn very well. Okay. Going forward, these are negative, manfi, and the only thing that changes is by adding the ma to them. We're gonna practice these after you guys get a hang for it, inshallah. We'll go back to those, inshallah ta'ala. Now, going forward, what we learned towards the end of last week was we learned about mudari or imperfect verbs. Mudari verbs, what do? You're actually adding 2 things, okay? Number one, of course, the words all change at the end. Verbs are all conjugated. If we look closely, all the verbs here are being conjugated where? At the end, okay? At the end. This is Maldi. The front doesn't change. It stays the same. The suffix is what's changing here. However, when you go to Mudari, the front and the suffix and the prefix, both of them, they change. They change according to the need. That might be easier for some of you, inshallah. Yeah, let's do it that way. So let's look at it. What does it say here? The prefixes can either be one of these 4 letters. Look closely. Alif, ta, ya, or noon. One of these 4 letters will be placed in the front of a mudari word to make it into mudari. And the way you remember it is atayna. What is it? Atayna. Again, one last time, what is it? It's called atayna. Type. Now, the suffix can either be a ani, una, or ina, or just a noon. So these are the suffixes. Now, you don't have to memorize it this way. What I prefer for you to do is actually memorize it according to the chart. Just memorize the chart. However, there's one more thing I want to explain to you, which is that, okay, pay attention. Madi words, Madi verbs, the ones like we have here, no matter where they're placed in the sentence, they are, as we called them, stoic. They don't show emotions. They don't change according to the state that they are in. They remain the same. They remain the same. However, One second. However, the mudari words are different. The mudari words, they can be affected by their place in the sentence. I'm going to repeat that because this is something you all have to understand and have to know. That mudari words can change. What does that mean? That means that what you see here in the indicative state, which is the halatu rafa, then you will see a dhamma on the lam kalima. You will see what? A dhamma on the lam kalima. So look, af'alu, yaf'alu, taf'alu. However, in the subjective case here, halat al-nasab is called halat al-nasab. You will see that the dhamma changes to a fatha. So look at this. The lam kalima is now getting a fatha. And the reason is because it's in halat nasab. It's in halat of nasab. Everyone understand that? MashaAllah. And likewise, if it needs to be put in the adjective case, which is the halat jazm, it can also accept that too. Alright? Sounds great. Everyone just repeat that if you need to. Go over that. And we have our next point here. The next thing is the actual chart for ماضي فعل مضارع معروف. يفعل يفعلان يفعلون تفعل تفعلان يفعلن تفعل تفعلان تفعلون تفعلين تفعلان تفعلن أفعل نفعل. MashaAllah. We've all memorized that and we've been perfecting it over the entire weekend. طيب. And finally for today's class, we will now take a look. We will now take a look at مضارع مجهول. Same word as before, majhul. Now, let's look at this chart here. Yansuru, that's mudari, correct? But it's ma'ruf. We know it's active. How do I change this word yansuru into a passive verb? Well, it's not that hard. All you're going to do is you're going to place a dhamma on the alamatul mudari'. Uh-oh, I'm saying something new, right? No, I'm not. Go back in your book and remember when we said we want to make a mudari', there's these prefixes here. They're called atayna. These are, I'm going to zoom in so you can see it as big as possible. So here I'm going to zoom in for you and show you alamat al-mudari'. These are called the alama or signs of mudari'. These will be placed at the beginning of a word. They're called alamatul mudari'. This is how mudari' will be shown to you. You'll see an alif there, or you'll see a ta there, or you'll see a ya there, or you'll see a noon there. Right? Everyone understand that? Great. Let's go now. Go forward. And let's look at what we were looking at before, how to make it into majhul. Very easy. All you're going to do is you're going to place a dhamma. Let's zoom in. You're going to place a dhamma on the alamatul mudari'. And you're going to place a fatha on the ayn kalima. So, look closely. What happens? Yansuru becomes what? Yunsaru. Yansuru becomes yunsaru. Okay, everyone got that? Practice this. Yasma'u becomes yusma'u. And the entire chart will go according to that that chart. Okay, what I want us to do is, first of all, practice the all of the charts that we were given for homework. And in class, inshallah, we're going to start something new this week, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakallah khair wa ahsana jaza. May Allah reward you for your diligence and hard work, inshallah. And if you have any questions, I'll see you on Tuesday. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.